the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone, Monday, November 5th, day before the big election. If you have any business with us tonight, come up to one of these microphones, state your name and address, and your concern or question to this body. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Cedar?
Here.
Member Burns?
Here.
Foley?
Here.
Kinsfater?
Here.
Krebs? Here. Laporte?
Here.
And McCartney?
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Go to consent agenda. Number 4 is A, City Council minutes of October 15th, 2012. Recommendation approved, and the Board of Cemetery Trustees minutes of September 11th, 2012. Recommendation received.
Motion to approve A and B as presented, Your Honor. Support.
Motion made, support. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go to number 5, ordinance resolution. A, resolution approving lot split combine Turner Mitchell 983 North Riverside Avenue. And Houston's here tonight.
Good evening. In your package, you've already received the information with the maps. Apparently back in 2008, a survey was done by the property owners, but it was never presented to the city to have the property split. And I included a copy of the overhead, which we received from, you can print from the county's website, just so you can see what they're trying to do. These are the original lots as they sit right now, and you can see the lot line goes through where their in-ground pool and driveway are, and they're just trying to move the lot line over to encompass all of the improvements on their lot. The remaining lot does meet the city's ordinances for a buildable lot.
That remaining lot was what, 78 feet?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you tell me 78 feet?
It's 78 feet, and you need 75 feet in that zoning district.
So how much are they carving out of that lot?
22.
22 feet.
And it's left with 78.
Then they'll have 78 left, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I would support that.
All right, motion's made and supported. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Member Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Foley?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Krebs?
Yes.
And Mayor Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll go to B, resolution approving lot split combine Michael Callahan, 1470 Oakland. And
This property is located on a platted street, though it is not a paved street, called Spring Street, down off between Oakland and South Riverside. It is just north of Palmer. Mr. Callahan owns the corner of Spring Street in Oakland. He also owns 3 lots behind his property. I included a copy of the plat, which is really kind of hard to read. These are the old plats. They're red, or they're black with white writing. And his property sits on lot 46 and part of lot 45. He also owns lots 47, 48, and 49. His neighbor, Mr. Bennett, who owns lots 40 and 39, is requesting to purchase lots 48, 49, and have them attached to his property. The remaining lot 47 then will be attached to Mr. Callahan's property. So we're not creating any new lots. In fact, we're getting rid of one.
I'd move to approve.
Support.
all right, motion's made and supported. Questions?
Yes, I have a question. Spring Street, I know does not go through, and it's, as she said, it's not a paved street. But I have a question, and when I talked to you this morning, I didn't ask a question. But, and this is, well, you know what? This really doesn't pertain to it, but I would like to know where Spring Street is in this subdivision. So if the city could do that?
You would have to have a surveyor go out and plot it, and I'm not a surveyor, so I wouldn't be able to do that.
Okay, well, down the road, I would like to know where Spring Street is because of the fact that the city does pay for mowing of Spring Street. And I just think it would be a good idea where we're mowing and what we're doing. And is the pump house on Spring Street?
So you're asking if the pump house is in the right-of-way or is in the...
In the street.
Lynn, when I look at the very last page,
Okay.
using those colors you have there for me? Can you
Yes.
tell me what you just said and all that other mumbo jumbo stuff that was just a lot of
Sure.
numbers?
Mr. Callahan owns the property that says 1470, and it's in the green. He's going to retain the little lot that's in the green piece and attach it to his. Mr. Bennett owns the lot that says 113, and he wants to purchase the piece behind his and attach it to his.
And who owns the whole big chunk of what they're splitting up?
What they're split, Mr. Callahan owns that.
He owns all of that?
He owns two separate parcels. Right.
Okay, now I got it. Are there any other questions?
So that, I think it's 47, that's the one that looks like a, well, it's not quite a rectangle, I don't know what you call it.
Correct.
Yeah, it's,
It'd be the-
is that now attached to 1470 now? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what he's asking to have done.
And that's what we would approve, so it would look like an L-shaped property then,
Correct.
instead of the normal rectangular.
Yes.
Now, having done that, that 47 would really never be able to be split off of that once he does that, is that correct?
Right, 47 is not large enough to be a buildable area. That's why it has to be attached to his.
And another question, he could build a garage behind that, correct?
As long as he meets all the setbacks of the zoning ordinance, yes.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Call the roll, please.
Member McCartney?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Foley?
Yes.
Kinsfather?
Yes.
Krebs?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
And Mayor Cedar.
Yes.
Carried unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. All right, we will go to 5C, resolution amending 2012-2013 harbor budget. Mr. Booth?
Yes, the original 2012-13 harbor budget did not call for capital spend. Tonight I have two Harbor Commission members here to provide support for the proposed budget adjustment of $11,000. Mr. Lockwood? I'm going to dim the lights a little bit too so it shows up through the
Good evening, I'm Bill Schwartz, I'm one of the Harbor Commissioners, I'm at 1025 North Riverside. And I have Dan Lockwood with me here, who I think everyone's familiar with. We've got a couple slides we just want to run you through with the ideas that we have for some new enhancements and revenue producing ideas for the boat harbor for 2013. The two items that we're here to talk about this evening are, one, a pilot program for personal watercraft. Personal watercraft would be jet skis or wave runners that you see around the river. And we've also initiated a kayak and canoe program probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. It's been very successful, and we have some amendments that we're interested in doing for 2013 to that program. Whoops, we're first off, the personal watercraft program. We're as Harbor Commissioners, we're always looking for new ideas and new benefits to present to the the local marina here in St. Clair. We're really seeing a mix shift in watercraft, especially obvious this summer. We've had a tremendous summer for weather and for boating. And the numbers weren't as strong as anticipated in the traditional sense for transient boats coming to the St. Clair Boat Harbor. And as everyone is aware, being state and city-run marina, we only have about 50% of the marina is permanent, so 50% is transient. What we're looking to do is enhance the marina and provide in a pilot program some new personal watercraft slips. Twofold idea here on the revenue side. We believe it's going to increase fuel sales at the marina, and it's also going to expand by a few numbers initially the number of seasonal slips that we can provide. We think that'll be a nice enhancement for the locals here in the St. Clair area.
Before you go on,
Yeah.
one of the things which I want to point out is that we are losing slips in the boat harbor because of the lowering of the water levels. So there are a number of slips which we're unable to rent. So what believe will happen is when we put in the personal watercraft docking facilities, they don't require, we can put them into the low water areas which we can't rent for water. And if this works on the pilot program, we're particularly looking at the south shoreline of the harbor, which right now I think, if I'm correct, you are able to see the bank coming up.
Yeah.
In the past, we have dredged this area, so we will not be dredging it in the future. What we're really trying to do is we want to find out how big is the market for seasonal rentals on personal watercraft docking facilities.
So just to expound on what Dan said, we've got about 30 feet on the south wall right now that's unusable space. And unless we get a real increase over the winter in the water levels, you know, that could continue to grow where we could have, you know, 40 or possibly 50 feet on the south wall that are unusable for a traditional boat. But these slips and what personal watercraft draw, we'd be able to start using that space and start producing revenue for a part of the harbor that's already in place. Now the canoe and kayak improvements, we already are renting canoe and kayaks at the St. Clair Boat Harbor. What we essentially have right now is a little bit of what we feel is a safety issue. We have the canoe and kayak racks sit on the east side of the boat, of the launch ramp, and people have to get the canoe or the kayaks, either personnel from the boat harbor or people that are renting them, and bring them across the in and out area of the boat ramp. So you've got people launching and pulling boats out, and you've also got people, if it's a nice day, renting canoes and kayaks and bringing them across that part of the parking lot that's very active and launching them there. The launch part is to the west side, and I've got some pictures here just to lay it all out for you of the boat ramp. So what we want to do is we want to take those racks. We essentially want to move them over to where you're actually launching the boats. So when people are returning the boats, they're being put back up on racks that are right on the dock, and then the people are leaving up via the sidewalk in the future versus having to cross a busy parking lot, especially on the weekends. And just to reiterate, the canoe and the kayak program's been a good revenue, starting to become a good revenue source for the harbor, and we've seen increased sales year over year. This is the expense portion. We got quotes from Easy Dock, the rep down, rep from the Algonac area. The three slips up there, a little over $6,200. The sections for the canoe and kayak expansion, a little over $3,500, and then the racks are about $550 a piece. So we're looking for basically a budget adjustment of around $11,000. And these are just some revenue projections. We would be installing, our interest is installing one of the personal watercraft slips at the fuel dock. We don't offer anything for personal watercraft right now at the fuel dock, and we don't offer anything for seasonal. We think we are going to start gaining a captive audience if we provide a place for someone to keep their personal watercraft for the season. And if we also have some convenience at the fuel dock, we think that that could considerably drive fuel sales, which we really don't have right now for various reasons. It's very difficult to fuel a personal watercraft while it's in the water, and what the slip would provide is stability. Also, just to give you a sense, you know, these personal watercraft, the new ones that they're coming out with, generally people are buying 3-person wave runners, and they hold about 18.5 gallons. So they hold a fair amount of fuel. And then our canoe and kayak rentals, we think for next year will be around $5,000. I believe they were just north of $4,500 this year. This is just this is maybe a easier map. This is the launch ramp right here, and this is where the kayak and canoe launch is right now. What what we're interested in doing is putting 2 seasonal personal watercraft slips here and expanding this dock to include the racks. And then we'd also, this would be the north end of the fuel dock. This is the fairway between docks 2 and 3. And we'd be attaching the personal watercraft slip down on the end of the fuel dock there to be able to fuel the personal watercraft.
Bill, just so everyone knows what the trouble we're facing on that south wall, if you take your highlighter and start just to the west of Beaver's.
Yep, okay, so
we're losing about
so over here's
slips.
Beaver's, over here's sort of the open space where there's that utility access. Here's where the south wall starts. Now what we're talking about right now is probably basically this section. I can point what we're talking about right now is basically this section right here. It's beach right here, so that's completely unusable unless we get it dredged. And then it's really going down to about here right now on the south wall. That is virtually unusable for anything other than these slips that we're talking about right now. And we don't see that. It's not forecasted to change anytime in the near future. And I think it would also, there's no one on the St. Clair River right now offering seasonal slips for these personal watercraft. So unless you have a home or a cottage on the river and you're installing your own, you're either trailering it, which is fine, a lot of people do that, but there's really no other options for people right now. We had just on the meetings that we've had at the Harbor Commission, the Harbor Master had 8 to 10 inquiries just off the meetings that we've had to date on are we going to be offering seasonal slips for personal watercraft next year. So I think we're going to have the demand to fill 2. I would bet we're going to have the demand to fill a lot more, but we want to start it as a pilot program and see what the interest is, and then go from there. So what we're asking for is the budget adjustment for $11,000 to be able to install a canoe and kayak, expand that, and start this pilot program for personal watercraft.
I will just say, Bill and I have talked to some of the marinas. In Lake Erie, there are a number of marinas who rent seasonal wells for personal watercraft, and also on Lake St. Clair. The comments that we had is there's a waiting list in all the harbors that have them. I also asked about maintenance. The people that I talked to, none of them had the Easy Dock system for more than 8 years, and they told us the only maintenance they had performed was greasing the rollers. So we think we have a fairly robust piece of equipment.
Yeah, that our staff at the harbor will be able to maintain, so without any outside assistance.
Is it coming in and out of the water?
It does, yep, we would pull them out in the wintertime. So, we have an Easy Dock system right now where we launched the canoe and the kayaks, and these sort of snap together. I guess the easiest analogy is like a Lego. They all clip together, so we can snap them into what we already have. We can expand that, and then we'll have it pulled out in the wintertime. And probably, I assume we'll have it up in the parking lot somewhere in the wintertime.
Do you see them in the future going
Where?
more towards Beaver's, or?
Yeah, I think you could line up 10 or 12 along that south wall if this plan took off, and you'd have easy marketing because anyone sitting over there at Pepper Joe's on the deck, would be looking at what the harbor had to offer because it'd be right there on the south wall, and you're the closest you can be to accessing the river, and anyone with a personal watercraft has it to be running out the river, not to be running up and down the Pine River. They want to get out to St. Clair, and it'd be the closest to the St. Clair River, where we hopefully ultimately be able to put them there on the end of the south wall. That's the idea.
There's no consideration doing that now?
Well, they're expensive, and that's why we wanted to start with a pilot program and make sure that, based on what we've seen and what we've heard, that we can actually do this. If it's successful next year, I'd love to be back in front of you talking to you about another phase to the project. So,
Well, how much are 2 more?
They're about $2,000, a little over $2,000.
Yeah, a little over $2,000 each.
We'd be looking at, for that project along the south wall, let's say 10, we'd probably be looking at $40,000.
All right.
Those are floating docks, though, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, do those comply with the DNR specification that we worked with them in the other project, Dan? You know,
I can't
they
answer.
had written a spec, and we had found that that spec was actually more severe than the Corps of Engineers spec, and that's when we, pitched it up in Lansing last year. They did back off a little bit on that spec, but I don't know if that would be a concern.
Tim, we haven't, I'll be honest with you, we have not checked to find out the case only because there's no reimbursement. And when there's no reimbursement, we just don't pay a lot of attention to them.
Does this have to go, be flowed by the Corps of Engineers?
No, because we take them out.
Take them out. So it's basic where the storm sewer outfall is, right across from Pepper
Yep.
Hills.
That would be the future. Right now, we're just talking about where we have them, we just do an extension on the canoe launch.
Yep. But that's ultimately where we're talking, correct?
With the personal watercraft, are there any other infrastructure issues? I mean, with the type of usage, do you need to expand like locker rooms for people to use those? Or are there other things along those lines besides just putting dock space out that would come as a result of this?
At this point, we're not planning on doing anything. You got to remember, we are losing dock space that we're not using. So all we're trying to do is recapture what we're losing.
Well, I'm just trying to think ahead. There's an obvious difference between a personal watercraft and your traditional user of the harbor, I would guess, in terms of what they would expect and want in terms of the facilities.
We'll have a better idea next summer after we have a couple in, is just see. We're not assuming there's any changes in demand. We may find out next year that that's not correct.
So what do you think your return on your investment would be? You'd pay for it in what?
Well,
years?
the kayak portion of it, we'll get a return on that in 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
It's 1 year turnaround's pretty good.
And on the, for the seasonal rentals, be less than 5 years.
Inside 5 years on just the 2 slips and the one we want to put the field out.
When will we have to dredge again?
When the water comes back. You can't chase the river. And that's the problem we're into. The water level that drops so far, there's no place to dredge. You just can't dredge. You can't chase the bottom. And that's the problem we've got.
We would like to eliminate the dredging concern along the south wall. I don't think you ever in the Pine River can alleviate some of the spots that ultimately will probably have to be cleared out from time to time to provide enough depth to run a boat harbor. So I think there's a couple spots that traditionally are an issue every 1, 2, or 3 years, depending on what kind of winter and spring that we have. So. But what we're talking about here is at least trying to eliminate one spot that's always been a trouble area and provide revenue and something that we're not going to have to maintain like we've had in the past.
Right. No, I mean, I think it's a good idea. I'm just curious that
Yeah.
when we do dredge, does the state pay for that, or does the harbor pay for that, or?
We've been fortunate to find grants to help us the last couple of years. We cannot tell you that that'll happen every year.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have 1 more year on our dredge contract.
Dan, what about a grant to do this project?
They're not real excited about personal watercraft right now.
What about the DDA?
The DDA doesn't have any money.
Just asking.
Float alone?
I have a lot of people asking DDA for funding. I've gotten very good at saying no.
I think we can make it work with the harbor.
The $11,000 is coming out of the harbor reserve, or where's the money coming from?
Yes, it would come from the harbor cash reserve.
And if they don't recoup this money, then it'll come out of the general fund?
Well, no,
No,
this will come out
They
of,
cut their harbor fund, which would
It's a win-win.
come out, okay.
I personally think it's a great idea. I think it's a win-win. I'm going to make the motion to approve as presented. Support.
All right, the motion's made, support. Any other questions?
I didn't get the support. Is it member Kinsfater or McCollum?
Yes.
It's me.
Call the roll, please.
Member Burns?
Yes.
Foley?
Yes.
Kinsfather?
Yes.
Krebs?
No.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Mayor Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for looking forward. All right, D, resolution adopting MERS benefit change for general AFL-CIO Unit 10-1-12 effective date. Mr. Booth.
This resolution does not change the pension benefit. However, the change does increase the employee contributions. They will increase from 3.49% up to 5%, with an effective date retro to October 1st of 2012.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion's made, supported. Questions? Call roll, please.
The second was,
Foley.
thank you. Member Foley?
Yes.
Kinsfather?
Yes.
Krebs?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
And Mayor Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We go to E, resolution adopting MERS benefit change for general AFL-CIO Unit 10-113 effective date.
Okay, again, this resolution again does not change the pension benefit. Again, it does change the amount contributed by the employee from 5% to 7% with an effective date on this of October 1st of 2013.
So moved.
Support.
Motion's made and supported. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Member Kinsfather?
Yes.
Krebs?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Foley?
Yes.
And Mayor Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, we go to number 6, reports of administration. Mr. Booth.
Okay, I have 4 items this evening. First is an update on St. Clair Highway project, which was completed on Friday, November 2nd. Except for reflectors along the railroad side of the road, the project is complete. I do know there were a couple items of concern. One was reducing the speed limit. On the signs that indicate that the pavement ends, there's a sign on the bottom of there where it indicates to reduce the speed to 25. And then the other item I think that was brought up at our last meeting was the desire maybe to, or at least to consider moving heavy trucks off from that. I did talk to the road commission. They didn't think it would be a necessity. It's something we can keep an eye on and reevaluate. If we feel that we need to later, we'll do so. So that's it on St. Clair Highway. Next item, the sectional portion of the SRF project. This is a sewer project. We'll begin this Wednesday, November 8th. Nothing additional on that. Third item is the city intends to rent for farming the approximate 70 vacant acres of property at the city's industrial park. To date, we have received inquiries from 4 potential farmers. Let's say at this point, if anyone else has interest, please contact the city for additional information. And as of right now, I'm saying proposals will be accepted through Wednesday, November 14th.
Are we going to direct administration to enter into a contract so that we can get it plowed yet this year and not have to be grass cutting? We've had 4 inquiries. They have called the city. I think he has some documentation. We'll invite them to bid and let administration pick a person and proceed with it. If we wait any longer, it's going to be...
Do we have any idea what kind of funds we're looking at for renting that, leasing that property for farming?
I think the first year it would probably be kind of a wash because they're going to have set up, they're going to have to go in and desk it and clean it up and that type of thing. And I would think that after that, depending on the terms that administration would pick, would be equal to if what the property tax would be on the farmland.
Well, don't we have somebody already renting land?
There's a section of 13 acres that's being rented.
Do you have any idea what they're paying or what the terms of their, oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Well, I think what you have to do is look at all 4 people that are willing to express interest and pick the better one. Leave it to administration.
True.
Bigger thing for the buck.
Does that preclude, though, an offer for the industrial?
You're saying if someone were to come in and purchase the property, would we have it set up such that we could make an arrangement for the crop to be taken off or whatever? Yes, that would have to be part of the contract.
But once a farmer plants, then we have to respect that?
No, what you'd do is you'd have to have a clause, I guess you'd say, if nothing else, in the contract indicating that if we were to take it and their crops were on, we would end up paying them or make an adjustment to the farmer for his crops for the seed in this time, which would be part of their proposal to us.
The county does similar things with property they own, and that's pretty standard language for them. You know, they have a number of properties that the county leases that.
So did I remember Burns' question correctly? If let's say we lease this and someone's planting beans, and in May we take a contract to sell and the buyer wants to take immediate possession. So you're saying the city has to reimburse that farmer for the loss of those crops?
For his expenses to that point, yes.
I think it should be leased for the risk to the tenant.
And then you're not going to
that many
lease it.
acres?
You're not going to lease it.
The lease we have currently does spell out what they would receive for the 13 acres. So if we needed the 13 acres that this gentleman's on currently, we would pay him. And that's typical.
That's the same that the county had, because I had talked to the county, I believe.
Janice has called there as well.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. The goal is, yet this late in the season, to try to get it this so that we don't have to pay the county or somebody to cut it come spring.
Is it a 12-month lease? Is that what it would be, or would it be just from like spring to fall? You know, planting season lease? Is that how it's
planting season?
The one we have currently is for an annual. I guess the question would be is would we entertain maybe doing a 24 or 36 month, especially with the fact that the first year they're going to be doing some tilling, I guess you'd say.
Someone mentioned earlier there was 4 interested parties. Can we share who those parties are?
Yes, one was Telto. We have Kevin's is also interested. Schweinhofer is one, and Westrick is the other.
Nothing formal, just inquire.
Just inquiries.
Do we have any obligation with the township if we do this?
No.
No. No. Currently, they receive, based on the 425 agreement, they receive a basically the amount of tax on the farmland, just rather small.
I guess I'd move that administration, direct administration, to I guess cut the best deal that they can on behalf of the city on this property, so we can maintain it and move forward with the sale.
Support.
The motion's made and supported. Is there any questions? I guess I would say, maybe this is just obvious, but just to state it, that obviously whoever these 4 are and they contact you and whatever you guys come together with, this guy here certainly wants to take a look at it and make sure we're protected as much as we can be. All right, motion's been made and supported. All in favor, say aye. I'm sorry.
Can I just ask one question? I mean, has this been ran by the county? I mean, they're the ones that kind of paid the money to clear the property.
They're the ones that suggested it, that we move on it fairly quickly, or we'd be behind the thing and paying them to
I'm sorry.
Anybody else? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Okay, I've got one other item, and that's just to remind everyone that Monday, November 12th, the city office will be closed for Veterans Day.
All right. Is there anything from the city attorney tonight?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
City departments, authorities, boards, commissions, committees?
I just have one announcement, because we won't meet before the 16th of November, that the Santa Parade is for 6 o'clock that Friday night.
Right, thank you. No unfinished business. Number 8, new business. Approved purchase of Boat Harbor dock system for personal watercraft.
I'd move to approve.
Support.
All right, motion's made and supported. Questions? We better call the roll on this.
Member Krebs?
No.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Burns?
Yes.
Foley?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
And Mayor Cedar.
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, now, letter B, confirm appointment to Pine Shores Golf Commission with the recommendation from the Golf Commission for Michael Pappas, 415 Fredmore Highway. With your consent, I would ask for that confirmation.
So moved.
Support.
Motion's made, supported. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 9 is claims and accounts, October 18 and 25, and November 1.
In looking at it, I saw I believe it's the same project we've been talking about today about the engineering services AEW's performed for the SRF repairs. Is that right?
Mhm.
That's the sewer and renovations?
That's, yes, open cut and then the partial and full length line.
4 different bills, if I remember. right.
And also St. Clair Highway slope stabilization.
Yes, I've had several meetings, some with AEW, some with John Lamb.
And I guess my point is, I understand in the city dropping our own engineer, these are costs that are starting to appear again. So I'm going to be watching these as we go throughout the year to see how this does stack up. But I would just think that these would have been things that we could have handled on our own before. And if I'm mistaken in that, I'd like to know. But I think, as the year goes on, I'm just concerned that we're not going to run into a large bill like we did 3 or 4 years ago from AEW. I know it's necessary, but it's just...
The SRF repairs, that was part of the contract that we signed and was approved. And what they do is they bill off a base of completion. So we should be able to tie that right back to the contract, which was approved initially. Which we would have had, regardless.
Hearing nothing else, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve as presented.
Support.
All right, motion made, supported. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, number 10 is public comments. Questions? Anybody have anything tonight?
A while back, you talked about giving us a credit on our garbage collection number, water bill.
Haven't forgotten about you.
When's that coming?
I don't have the quarter yet, but you will get it.
Anybody else?
I think Mr. Kinswater would like to announce the fire authority took possession of their new rescue vehicle, and it is at the fire hall, and they see something new going down the street.
I think you just
Mr.
did.
Kinsfather?
I think you just did, Mr. LaPorte. Thank you.
What did they get, Mike? I'm sorry.
What we did is, well, Butch, go ahead, tell them what we did.
We actually didn't purchase, we purchased a new cabin chassis and just rebuilt one of the existing trucks. And just received it this past week, and it
Yep.
looks real nice. How much money did we save, Mr. LaPorte?
A little over 100.
1,000.
You guys make a good team.
I've got a couple questions I'd like to ask, if this is the right time. For MDOT grants, I think there were some grants that we had at one time for Clinton and Kearney Drive and Range Road and Kearney Drive. Safety and traffic type of grants that were out there. And then also at one time we were involved with MDOT in discussions about the M29 corridor. And my memory is going foggy here, but are we still on for any or all of those? Does anybody know?
Can you provide a detailed list of the ones that you're asking on, and I'll look into them? Because I know that I have seen different information on the M29 corridor, but I'm not sure what you're referring to on the Clinton Kearney.
Yeah, I think it was just a way of relieving traffic. I don't know if that really, if that just meant studies or was actually some kind of widening with side lanes added at the intersections. I'm not quite sure what.
At Clinton and Kearney Drive?
Clinton, Kearney, and also Range. And this goes back a ways, but Range and Kearney as well, because of the congestion that occurs at those two intersections. I think there was.
You thought there was some grant
money? I think there was an application at one time for. It may have only been a study, but I think there was something out there.
Do you recall the time frame?
It's got to be a couple years now. And I'm thinking it may have just grown quiet on everybody's list. Maybe it's even.
I think the one at Range was done when the railroad, we were paving the crossing and the bike path. When they did the railroad crossings, I do remember something going on there.
Yeah.
But I don't think we got
anything at. And then also, I think Dan, remember we talked about that at the DDA meeting about the M29 corridor, and it looked like that had withered away on the MDOT list of projects.
It's not withered, it's just never got to the list. And I've just, I don't want to have the authority, but Janice has given me some backup materials, and I'm just going to send it to the new director in Macomb, see what kind of response I got from him. But the MDOT's response is they don't believe that the council has approved the M29 plan, and they're not going to put anything on the list that they even think there's any controversy on.
Well, first of all, that wasn't a grant request. That was just a plan that I thought we approved to get on the
capital list.
Yes, yeah, I was thinking the same way.
But it's not on the capital list.
No, but I thought council approved that to go forward plan to get on MDOT.
And I thought the date was even like 2016, something like that. They kept jumping it like years ahead.
So you're saying that they don't want to take on the plan because they don't think council's got there's support from council?
Yes.
Wow.
I thought that's why we approved it.
I thought we approved the plan. I agree.
Yeah, after the M29, we reconvened the planning group, and they came back in with recommendations, and it was approved and passed along.
Okay, I do not have, I have a letter that Scott wrote, and all he says on there that it was approved by council and the planning commission.
Yeah.
But we were unable to find in the minutes where it was approved by the council. That would be very helpful in the application. I will tell you right now, it is not on MDOT's capital list. And since you brought it up, my concern has always been is that if we don't have it on the capital list, we may find construction trucks showing up one day doing some repairs and we're not involved in. We really do need to get this on. Jane is right. It's a number of years out.
Yeah.
But they're in the process right now of redoing, I think it's the next 5-year capital plan. And it's to our benefit to try to get it on that list.
Do you happen to know which plan we approved and sent up that we sat and approved? There was a couple different plans.
You approved the plan that was done by Spalding Decker, and that was the last plan that was done.
So how do we resurrect that, bring it back to council for reapproval and get it to MDOT? Because all this time I was under the understanding that that was a live project.
We can have
not a live project, but a project that we had approved to go on the agenda.
Scott sent a letter in 2010.
Just a plan.
Which is supposedly you approved it at that time. MDOT did not process it because they're under the impression that the council did not support it, even though Scott's letter, and no one has done anything with it since.
Okay, well, we'll look into it. Janice, you don't have anything to do tomorrow, do you?
She's sending bills out to the Little League. Oh, what?
Just to follow up on that a little bit too, I do have a Scott's meeting next week, and the gentleman from MDOT is typically there, so I'll see what he has to say. They do have a call for projects out, and the way they've broken it down is they're looking at it as a I believe it's 2014 through 17. I could be off on that a year. And then in the next phase, that's one phase of projects they want for projects, and then the next one is called a 2040 plan, which I'm sure most of us won't be involved with that one, but what they want to do is see that next phase of projects. So I can check into that for you, and I'll see if we do have anything in the office.
While we're on the MDOT subject, can you give us an update on Clinton Avenue?
Clinton Avenue, Give you a few items. The closeout date on that is September of 2013, before it'll be officially signed off. That is due to the, I believe, the growing seasons and the guarantees on the trees. Recently, we had one bench that had a crack in it, discovered by, I think, a resident. Trees brought it in. So the AEW was contacted, the contractor was contacted, and they have replaced that section. Unfortunately, the DPW is going to install it. I don't think it'll take them too long, but so they did the warranty work there. I know there's a number of outstanding items. Some of them still working with. There's a couple of poles that are there. One's cut off. I think it still has some telephone, say, equipment attached to it. And then there's another pole that doesn't have anything on it. It's just standing there. And I think because of the way that our project went down, and I'm not sure on which one, but either AT&T or Comcast, typically one goes in before the other. We had it flipped around. So the guy that normally takes the poles out did his job first. So Steve Pangori is still working on that one, trying to get the poles out of there. And so no, I know there's an ongoing list, and I'll keep updating you as I knock them off. Or
will we have input with the sign off, or is that going to be strictly an MDOT project?
I can't recall on the project. I believe MDOT signs off on it, so it's limited. And I can follow up again with you next time if you'd like to.
I was also curious too, as we're talking about just generalities here, the property on Clinton that has been sold, it was the old car wash, and it's been sold and sold again. Do we know, does the city know what the new owner is likely to do with it?
Store cars in it.
You don't know? I don't know. I know. I was looking at D, sorry. No,
yeah. But that's general usage, is that the zoning down there?
It's not general, he'd need to get it approved.
It's in the downtown redevelopment district, it's the Clinton Avenue district, which there's certain uses that are allowed.
Stay tuned.
All right. Anybody else? Let's go to number 11. Any other council members, mayor, anybody?
I have, I guess, congratulations to the St. Clair High School state champion cross-country team.
Yes.
For those of us who certainly drive around, walk around this town, I think we all have a little spot in our heart for them. I mean, they practice all year round, and their efforts were finally rewarded with the state championship. So I guess I would direct administration to look into the state championship sign that goes below the state championship baseball sign. And I believe Wednesday night they're having a celebration out at the high school to congratulate the cross-country team. So I guess I urge everyone to participate. And while I'm congratulating, you know, I know our tennis team did well this year. I know our football team just got done. They ended up 9-2, losing to a bruising team on Saturday night. But I think they had a great year as well. So I think St. Clair High School is well represented in the fall sports forum this year. So congratulations to the cross country team and all the rest of the sportsters out there.
Yeah, that's John Davidson's their coach, and he's the guy, with a bad knee, he's riding a bike, leading them guys around town. But that's 7 o'clock at the high school Wednesday.
Okay,
if you want
7
to go.
o'clock.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Make sure everybody votes tomorrow. Janice, would you like to give us a little public service announcements? Because probably no one in the room has seen anything about this election on TV or on their phone.
Sure. Tomorrow is Election Day. There are 3 polling locations in the city of St. Clair. Ward 1 is here at City Hall on Kearney Drive. Ward 2 is Emmanuel Lutheran Church on the corner of 9th and Vine. And people in Ward 3 are voting at Pine Shores Golf Course. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
With that, Your Honor, I make a motion to adjourn.
Support report.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good night, everyone. Make sure you vote. Thanks for coming.